Hi, I'm Steve Miller, a photographer from sunny Cumbria in the northwest of England, the UK. In this video, I'm going to show how I use DxO Photolab 8 to edit my wildlife images. I decided to do this because most of the wildlife edits videos that I've seen on YouTube myself, most of the photographers were using Lightroom, and there wasn't many, if any, that were using DxO Photolab. A lot of the photographers had used DxO Puro for desmosaicing and the noise reduction, but then export as a DNG to edit further in Lightroom or another photo editor. So I just thought I'd put this video together of how you can do all of the editing in DxO Photolab really. It's not a tutorial as such on how to use all the tools. It's just to show what can be done uh, in Photolab and how I do it. On the rare occasions that I do have to go to another program, I use Affinity Photo, but that will just be to if I've got awkward like branches or something in the scene that I need to remove and I'm struggling in Photolab. So then I will export as I'll do all my edits in Photolab and then I'll export as a 16-bit TIFF and remove the branch in Affinity. But that's a very rare I have to do that. 99.9% of my editing is done in Photolab alone. Right, let's get started on the edit. I'm going to use this photo of a dipper that I took recently. Um, I will just create a virtual copy of that and open it up in the editing screen. Um, so this is the finished image. This is how it started. So I'm just going to show you how I sort of got to this from this to this. It's quite a quick edit really. It's got a nice photo. There's not that much that needs doing to it. Now people that have already used Photolab or you've got a trial version maybe, I'll be looking at my screen and realise that your workspace won't look like this probably. I've set up a workspace because I use a Wacom tablet and I'm left-handed, so I do find it a lot easier to have the tools on this left-hand side of the screen because I am using the tablet. Right, let's get into the edit then. I have these set up, my tools set up on the left hand side of the screen in the order that I'd use them normally. First of all, I'll just reset the image. So this is out of camera. Obviously, it's been cropped, so that's the first thing I'd do. I'd go into the crop. So I'll try cropping this image. Just take there. I would just leave a bit more space for the bird to look into there on the left hand side. Something like that. Probably how I leave it for the crop. Now I go into the light tools. The color and rendering, these are set up when you first open the image. So I have it so it's set to the DxO camera profile for the OM1, which is the camera that I use. So very rarely I'd touch this or change this. It's just this comes in when I first open the image in Photolab. Next down, I'd go to the exposure. I probably would just brighten this image slightly. A bit to that. Just check in, make sure that the white detail here isn't blowing out. I can tell from the histogram there we're okay. Smart lighting, now that's another one that I have set to automatically come in when I first open the image. I found when I started using Photolab that a lot of the images did look better with using the smart lighting at about 20, not too much. I would sort of have a look, see what this does to the image. I'd say it's something like an auto HDR. It sort of lifts the shadows and darkens the highlights without blowing anything out. It can be quite a good tool, but usually around about 20 is usually what I use. Now Clearview Plus, that is like a dehaze slide. If I turn that on, you'll see this image will probably look horrible. Just too contrasty. I just don't like that. Sometimes, if you is a bit washed out, the image, Clearview Plus can work. It's a bit like a dehaze slider, I'd say. But most wildlife images, I won't use that. I'll turn that off. Now we get down to the selective tone. So this is not just your highlights and shadows, which are in most programs. You've got it there in Lightroom. So I might lift the shadows slightly on that. In fact, I probably wouldn't. I think I'd leave that for later. I might just brighten the image a little bit using the midtones. Contrast, I don't think this image needs it. But if I do use contrast, I usually reset that. I'll use the fine contrast. Now, the only problem is you have to have DxO Film Pack installed to use the fine contrast. The micro contrast, it's a bit like a clarity slider, but I find it a bit too harsh and it affects the background too much. So I might use the micro contrast locally later. But for this image, I might give just maybe a little bit of fine contrast. Yeah, that looks okay. The vignetting I just leave on automatic. That's automatically brought in the first time I open the image again. And the detail, this is where this is like the DxO Pure Raw engine. So this is the denoising and the lens sharpness, which is what a lot of people use Pure Raw for. It's very good. What you have to realise in Photolab, if you have to go to at least 75% to get a high quality preview. So lower than 75%, your preview can look a little soft and just, I think it's just DxO's way of, so it doesn't use up too much of your computer's memory. It's just to make things happen faster. Deep Prime 3 is usually, it's very good. To see how the sharpening and the noise reduction are working, you have to go into the loop view. So I'll put that on 100%. So inside the loop view, you can see the denoise working. If I turn the loop off, see there's a little bit of noise around here. Not too bad. It's not that higher ISO. A shot the 60-100. It's not too bad. But the Deep Prime 3 definitely brings out a bit more feather detail and gets rid of the noise better. In a lot of my wildlife images with fur and feather detail, I find the XD2S will work even better. I mean, I think that has brought out more feather detail, so I'd probably leave it at that. I do sports photography as well, and very rare I'd use the XD2S on sports. I just use the Deep Prime because there's not that much detail, But in wildlife edits, there's photos, when there's feather detail like you see here, it's quite, Deep Prime does work well. The chromatic aberration, I just leave it off the automatic setting. Never really touch that. Lens sharpness, I mean, most times I'll just leave it that at the automatic setting. You could try adding more sharpening to the image, see if you like that, but I'd say I would just leave it at what the automatic setting is. Most times it looks good at that. Next down is the colour, where this is just the white balance really. For the image, I might warm this one up slightly, see what it looks like. No, I think I'll leave it as it is. I might do some colour later. Right. A lot of people would probably be quite happy just with that edit. If you're just going to share on Facebook or on Instagram, that that probably would be fine. But if I was going to print or maybe upload to a stock library, I would do a little bit more work on this. And this is where you'd use the local adjustments. This is where the magic happens, really. It's a bit of a artistic license when you start using the local adjustments. I mean, looking at this image, I'd want to darken this area around the bottom right hand side. The rocks are a bit bright, and it's a bit bright around this area as well. So there's a natural vignette. So I'd like to sort of accentuate that by darkening this area. That quite easily to do. I'd use a control point for doing this. I mean, these are the way that Photolab do the masking. Really, it's you can use a control point, control line, graduated filter, luminosity mask, U mask, auto mask, a brush. Oh, and that is just to delete some of the mask that you've already done. There is videos on YouTube of how to use these, but I won't go into that. I'll just show you how I use it. So I'd use a control point first for this. So if you just click control point and you put a control point over the area you want to darken, use quite a big one there, and I'll put one over the bottom corner of that rock and maybe one there. The other thing you can do is you can use a negative control point. So if you hold the option key and click where you don't want the mask to affect, you can click there, and that will stop the mask from affecting that area. Yeah, that looks quite good. Now there, I would just maybe drop the exposure a little bit and the highlights. Drop the highlights. So that just change that bright area a little bit. So it's yeah, makes it look nice. Right, next I'll look at doing something on the bird. Maybe try and bring out a bit of the feather, a bit more of the feather detail, and just try and make it pop a little bit. I mean, this is where using the masks, it's just about experience, really. I could probably do it using control points again, but looking at this, I think the auto mask could be a good option. So I'll try that. You don't have to be so precise around doing this. It's just to bring out the feather detail. So I won't be doing any excessive adjustments on it. The only problem with the auto mask is it doesn't actually show you where the mask is. So there's a little bit of a workaround where you can just up the exposure. You can see where it's working, and then it's like there is a little bit there that I'd probably try and get rid of. So option again, and this is like erasing the mask. So I just erase that from around that area there, and that's not too bad. Maybe just a little bit on the legs. I don't really want the legs to be affected. And there on the beak, it's mainly the feather detail I want to catch. So that's where most of it. I've got most of what I want there. So I'll just knock that back. Now this is where I would use a little bit of micro contrast. This is like a clarity slider, so I just not too much, just up, and maybe lift the shadows on the bird, just to give it that little bit of pop. And I would probably just warm it up slightly, because it's naturally like a brown bird, so it's just play with a white balance. So I think it looks nice. Right, I don't think we're a million miles away. Just looking at that now, I think there's a couple of things that I don't like. There's a bright area down here and one here that they just catch your eye. I want your eye to be drawn towards the dipper, towards the bird. So these bright areas do sort of draw your eye away. So this is where I'd use the heel tool. So I'd just try going over there with the heel tool. Obviously don't want it. This is very much like a clone tool. Quite often I'll do that just so. Yeah, it looks okay. And then I'll do another one just over this area. Again, bring it down. I might even take the opacity of that one down slightly. Yeah, now that doesn't look too bad. At this point, I'd go away and I'd leave this image for at least a couple of hours and come back and have a look, because you see things differently. I mean, sometimes I'll leave an image for a couple of weeks, then come back and do little tweaks on it. I've just noticed something there that's a bit distracting. I don't like that bright area on the bird, so that could be a quick fix. I'd just do a small control point on that area. Just refine it so it's not picking up as much as that area. And then I just take exposure down on that bright bit of the. Yeah, that sort of hides that. Yeah, so well, that's my quick edit really. It's editing, it's subjective. You might like what I've done, you might not. You might like the image to be a bit brighter. It's all personal preference really. So, but that's just showing you a quick edit. It's just what can be done in Photolab. So you don't have to go and subscribe to Lightroom. There is other programs out there, and I think one of the main advantages of DxO Photolab is you can do everything in there, because it's got Pure Raw built in. It's very good from, you can just do your image from start to finish really. I mean, I'll just do a quick export on that image and show you. What we have to remember as well, that preview isn't the highest quality preview. I'll go up to 75%, which looks fine, but that isn't even doing the noise reduction yet. If I do, I'll just do a quick export. I'll just export as a JPEG. Shouldn't take too long. I'm on a Mac Mini, an M4 Mac Mini, just a base model, but it seems to work fine. So if I set that as my reference image, then open. So that is the exported image as a JPEG. So you can see it's a lot sharper, and the noise reduction has helped. So yeah, I'd be quite pleased with that as an edit. Right. I hope you like this video. You can please leave some comments, but be gentle. This is my first attempt at doing a YouTube. I'm not a YouTuber, I'm a photographer, as you can probably tell. But anyway, I hope you liked that, and I hope you liked the photo. Thanks a lot. Bye.